Hey friends, it is Trucker Ray with a Carnivore Journey update. It's not a great update. I mean, I'm going to be the first one to admit that I went off the carnivore diet during the holidays. I figured what would be the harm in it of taking a little break from it and having a traditional turkey dinner, maybe some shortbread cookies, a little Christmas cake, just a little stuff like that, and didn't turn out that way at all. I ended up having a lot more than I should. Even after the holidays, I remember ordering Chinese food because I was craving Chinese food for a long time and I haven't had it for a while. And I remember why I don't eat it very often, because you're paying a whole lot for nothing. I ordered a dinner for 3 and it seemed like quite a bit in the bag. Walked out of the Chinese restaurant and I thought, wow, this is great. I just spent $60 Canadian. That's with the tax. And this should last me 3 or 4 days. Well, you know what? It did. But it was rice, beef chop suey with barely any beef in it. What was another one? There was another noodle in the other one. And yeah, anyway, so there was 4 dishes. They all consisted of either rice or noodles, barely any beef at all. And I'm thinking to myself, this Chinese restaurant is doing really well, because it probably didn't cost them any more than $20 total for all of the noodles and rice to put it all together. Put a little bit of beef in there, which cost them probably less than $5. So there you go. You've got $25 worth of ingredients in there, and you charge $60 for it. Yeah, that's really good. So I did that, and just been snacking on stuff I shouldn't be, and it's been going right into January. And I'll be the first one to admit, it's not as easy to get back on the carnivore diet as it was starting it. Once you go off of it and try to get back on it again, it is a little bit of a struggle, because now I have gotten myself used to having regular foods. I'd walk into a truck stop, there's Subway, let's go for it. I was doing this stuff, and I'm like, you got to get off of this and get back on your carnivore, Ray. And every day would come around where I was getting a little hungry, and I'd walk in there and grab something else, like a bag of chips or something. And you know what? I'll be the first one to admit that it is a lot difficult to get back on it, for sure, after you have... I was only on it for 2 months, but I was making really good progress. I was really doing well. I was dropping the weight quite a bit. I noticed that I put on a little bit more back on, and it doesn't take much to put it back on. And the only reason why I put that back on is because I was taking in the wrong stuff. I think if I would have just been eating a lot healthier, if I would have added a few things onto my diet, I think it would have been okay. But when you are putting in the wrong stuff, like a lot of carbs, that's where it starts to show. And I also noticed how I was feeling. Not sleeping as good. Looking a little bit more tired. And it's amazing when you take in that sugar into your system and everything else that you shouldn't be taking in, you really do notice the difference. So I wanted to encourage those out there that are on the diet, that kind of slipped and fell off the wagon, so to speak. You know what? It's okay. I've seen a lot of videos out there. A lot of people did this during the holidays. But I'll tell you one thing. When the holidays roll around next year, I'm not really one to celebrate the holidays, because I believe it's a pagan ritual anyway. Because nowhere in Scripture does Yeshua tell us to celebrate his birthday. And a lot of the Christmas things like Christmas trees and all this other, a lot of it just goes back to really serious, ridiculous, actually very evil pagan ways. Excuse me. So I probably won't be doing anything of the sort of even observing it next year. So there will be no excuse for me to do this again. But it was a good eye-opener. It really was. It was a good eye-opener. It showed me the difference on how I felt when I was on it from the difference I felt when I went off of it. And how it affects everything, right down to your bathroom breaks. It goes right down to everything on how well you sleep, how much money you spend. I will say that I'm excuse me, I'm glad that I did this, because it opened my eyes and showed me how much better the carnivore diet really is and how much healthier it really is. And so officially yesterday, I went back on it. I guess yesterday was the 1st of February, wasn't it? Or was it the 2nd? So technically, 1st of February. But 1st of February, I still had a little bit of sherbet in my freezer, and I polished that off, and I just said, that's it. So February 2nd technically is when I've gone back on it, and I'm going to stay on it. And no matter how tempting it gets, even my coffee, I went over to the Loves. I'm over here in Jackpot right now. I went over to the Loves, and you know what? I'm going to say this too. I even noticed that when I was on the Carnivore, I wasn't clearing my throat nearly as much when I was on video. Since I have been off the Carnivore for the last month and a half, I've really noticed that I've been clearing my throat a lot more. There's a lot more things that need to get out. Maybe it's just body's rejecting it. I don't know. I don't know how it works. But I have noticed that has been a bit of a nuisance. I was walking into a Love's, a couple other places I walked into a Love's, and I bought a coffee, and I threw a little bit of the French vanilla in there, because I don't really like drinking my coffee with nothing in it as for sweetener. I do have stevia, but it gives it a licorice taste to it. I don't mind licorice, but I want to get used to having it without any kind of sweetener in there, and that's okay. So I've got my coffee, and I've made a vow to myself that I am going to go on this carnivore diet, and I'm going to go full-fledged with it now, and right into the spring, and accomplish all the goals that I've been wanting to do, and stay off the sugar, because all sugar really does is feed cancer cells. Sugar doesn't do anything good for you, none. So if you were following along with me and you decided to go on the carnivore diet, and maybe you fell off the wagon and you're feeling bad or guilty, don't. I don't feel guilty about it. I find it as it was an educational experience for me. Okay, this obviously is a better way to go. Let's go back on that. So it was an eye-opener for me. And if you go on YouTube and you look at some of the other videos of other carnivores that have done the same thing, they're not feeling guilty about it. There's even doctors on there that says, hey, so what? You fell off the wagon. You went and ate food you shouldn't have eaten. Now get back on the train and go. Saddle up, baby. You know, it's time to go for it again. So that's what I'm going to do. So those of you that took a break from it, or maybe you're feeling guilty about it, let's jump back on the wagon together and go for it. So I just wanted to give you guys an update on that, and I will give you my next update as I'm back on the carnivore diet. Probably in a couple weeks I'll do a weigh-in, and I'll let you know. Right now I think I'm back at 240. Yeah, it didn't take long to get back up there. I originally started at 246, 248, so I did put a little bit of weight back on, and a lot of it's probably water weight, so because I've been drinking a lot of water. And when you're eating a lot of carbs and a lot of stuff you shouldn't be, you do put on a lot of water weight. So I'll give you guys an update. My nose is running here. Sorry. This is what happens. I have cheese, and all of a sudden I have an allergic reaction to cheese now. The worst it does is plug my nose up and makes it run, which is kind of silly. But I love cheese, so I'm not giving that up. I'd rather put up with a little bit of a runny nose once in a while and some sneezing. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys. Blessings in the name of Yeshua. Until our next update, bye for now.